The Discovery, the Velker's music. Triumph, Commander Thern stood on the bridge of the Velker warship Crimson Dawn, his crimson scales gleaming under the soft blue lights of the command center, his forearms crossed over his broad chest as he watched the blue and green planet rotate slowly on the main display screen. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the signals that had led them to this remote corner of the galaxy. "Commander, we are receiving another transmission," announced Science Officer Myrax, her slender fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It is the same pattern as before, simple radio waves carrying basic mathematical sequences." The golden eyes narrowed with satisfaction. This was exactly what they had been searching for during their 5-year exploration mission, a primitive civilization just advanced enough to reach out into space, but too young to have mastered faster than light travel. This was the opportunity the Velker Empire had been waiting for. "Excellent work, Myrax," Thern said, his voice deep and commanding. "Prepare a response using their own transmission patterns. Let them know we come in peace." Velker had explored hundreds of star systems over the past 3 centuries, but genuine first contact with a new, intelligent species was incredibly rare. Most civilizations they encountered had already been documented by other space-faring races, but this planet, which the inhabitants apparently called Earth, appeared in none of the galactic databases. The Velker would be the first to make official contact. This discovery would change everything for Thuron's career and for the Velker Empire itself. Making contact, 3 weeks later, Thuron found himself sitting across a metal table from representatives of Earth. The meeting took place aboard the Crimson Dawn in a specially prepared conference room. The humans had sent a small delegation on what they called a space shuttle, a primitive vessel that had docked with some difficulty to the Velker ship. The human representatives looked remarkably fragile compared to the Velker. They stood on only 2 legs, had just 2 arms, and possessed no scales or natural armor. Their skin was soft and varied in shades of brown and pink. Despite their physical weakness, their eyes shone with intelligence and wonder. "This is truly amazing," said the lead human diplomat, a woman who introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Chin. She spoke through a translation device the Velker had provided. "We never imagined we would meet another intelligent species so soon after launching our first deep space probes." Thern smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Your species shows great promise, Dr. Chin. The Velker Empire believes in helping young civilizations reach their potential. We have much to offer humanity." Over the following months, the Velker established a more permanent presence in Earth's star system. They set up a diplomatic station on Earth's moon and began regular meetings with human leaders. The presented his proposal to the human government representatives with great ceremony. The generous offer: "On behalf of the Velker Empire, I offer humanity a partnership that will transform your civilization," Thern announced to the assembled human leaders in their planetary capital, the building they called the United Nations. Headquarters was primitive but functional. "First, we offer you faster than light travel technology. Your current engines would take decades to reach even your nearest star neighbors. Our quantum displacement drives will allow you to cross the galaxy in weeks." The humans listened with expressions of Amazement and gratitude. Some took notes on their electronic tablets while others simply stared in wonder. Second, we offer defensive technology. The galaxy can be dangerous for unprepared species. We will provide you with plasma shield, generators and ion cannons to protect your worlds and ships from hostile forces. Theron paused, enjoying the looks of excitement spreading across the human faces. Third, we offer economic integration. The Velker Trade Network span 200 star systems. We will grant humanity favorable trading status, allowing you to exchange your unique resources for advanced goods and services. Finally, we offer knowledge. Our scientific databases contain information on thousands of technologies. From medicine to engineering, we will share this freely to accelerate your development. Dr. Chin stood up, her hands trembling slightly. Commander Theron, your generosity is overwhelming. Humanity accepts your friendship with deep gratitude. This is a historic moment for our species. Seeds of doubt. As the weeks passed, the technology transfer began. Velker engineers taught human scientists how to build quantum drives and energy weapons. Trade agreements were signed and human ships started appearing in Velker spaceports. Everything seemed to be proceeding perfectly, but they began noticing small irregularities that troubled him. The humans learned new technologies with unexpected speed. When Velker engineers explained complex quantum physics, human scientists nodded along as if the concepts were merely being refreshed rather than learned for the first time. One evening, Theron discovered something that made his scales prickle with unease. He was reviewing Earth's communication networks and found references to human colonies on multiple planets. When he asked Dr. Chin about this, she smiled and explained they were proposed colony sites in science fiction stories. The explanation satisfied the official report, but Theron's instincts whispered that something was not quite right. The humans were too calm, too prepared, too quick to adapt. They acted less like a species experiencing first contact and more like experienced diplomats going through familiar motions. Still, there was no proof of deception, and the partnership was already being celebrated. Across the Velar Empire, they had been promoted and praised for his historic achievement. He pushed his doubts aside and focused on preparing for the Galactic Assembly, where he would present humanity to the wider community of spacefaring civilizations. What could possibly go wrong? The revelation. The Galactic Assembly, the Grand Assembly Hall, floated in neutral space, a massive station built by dozens of civilizations over thousands of years. Its crystalline dome stretched for kilometers, allowing attendees to gaze at the stars while conducting the business of galactic civilization. Today, representatives from 43 different species had gathered for the quarterly meeting. Their ships docked in orderly rows around the station's perimeter. Commander Theron entered the hall with confidence, his ceremonial armor polished to perfection. Behind him walked Dr. Sarah Chin and two other human representatives dressed in formal Earth attire. They appeared appropriately nervous and excited, exactly as Theron expected from a species about to be introduced to galactic society. The assembly coordinator, a floating creature called Luminos, who communicated through patterns of colored light, welcomed them. Commander Theron of the Velker Empire, you have requested this special Session, please present your matter to the assembly. The stepped forward, activating the holographic projector. An image of Earth appeared above the assembly floor, rotating slowly for all to see. Honored representatives, I come before you to announce a historic achievement. 3 months ago, the Velar Empire made first contact with a new intelligent species. They call themselves humans, and their home world is Earth. Following proper protocols, we have established peaceful relations and offered them initiation into the galactic community. Murmurs of interest rippled through the assembly. First contact announcements were always significant events. Theron continued, describing humanity's technological level and the partnership agreements they had signed. He spoke with pride about Velker generosity and human gratitude, but then something unexpected happened. The interruption. Impossible, shouted a voice from across the hall. Ambassador Krell of the Zynthian Collective was standing, his crystalline body flashing angry red colors. The Zynthians discovered humanity 4 months ago. They are under our protection. The assembly erupted into confused chatter. They stared at Krell in disbelief. That cannot be correct, Ambassador. The Velar made first contact with the Draenor Union, contacted humanity 6 months ago. Interrupted another voice. General Vex, a towering insected warrior, rose from his seat. We provided them with defensive technology and trade agreements. The mechs found them 8 months ago. Called out someone else. Torgth encountered them a year ago. One by one, representatives from different species stood up, each claiming they had discovered humanity first. Within minutes, 17 different civilizations were arguing loudly, all insisting they had made first contact and established partnerships with Earth. The assembly coordinators' lights flashed frantically, trying to restore order. Silence. This is unprecedented. How can 17 species all claim first contact with the same civilization? The felt his world crumbling around him. He turned to look at Dr. Chin, who stood calmly beside him, her expression unreadable. Dr. Chin, please explain this confusion. Sarah Chin stepped forward, and for the first time Theron saw something different in her eyes, not wonder or gratitude, but calm calculation. Perhaps I can clarify the situation, she said clearly, her voice carrying through the suddenly quiet hall. Truth unveiled. Humanity has been capable of faster than light travel for over 200 years. Dr. Chin began. The assembly gasped collectively. We have colonies on 63 different worlds across this region of the galaxy. We have been observing galactic civilization for quite some time. Theron's forearms fell to his sides in shock. But that means, yes, Commander, when your ships arrived at Earth, it was not first contact. It was more like a performance. Sarah's expression remained professional, but Theron could detect a hint of satisfaction in her voice. Earth itself is actually a preserved world. We maintain it in a deliberately primitive state as a testing ground and cultural heritage site. The people you met there were volunteers playing roles. The assembly exploded into outrage. Representatives shouted accusations, while others demanded explanations. Coordinators' lights strobed rapidly. Barely maintaining control, Sarah waited for the noise to die down before continuing. For the past 18 months, various human colony groups have been initiating contact with different space faring species. Each time we presented ourselves as a newly space-faring race, eager to learn from more advanced civilizations each time we were offered technology, weapons, trade agreements, and knowledge. You manipulated us. Krell's crystalline body turned dark. Purple with rage, you deceived the entire galactic community. We accepted, freely offered gifts from civilizations who wanted to help a less advanced species, Sarah corrected calmly. Nothing we did violated any galactic laws or treaties. We simply failed to mention that we were more advanced than we appeared. General Vex slammed a claw against his podium. This is outrageous. You collected military technology from multiple civilizations under false pretenses. We collected defensive technology that was voluntarily given, Sarah replied, and we've learned a great deal about each of your civilizations in the process, your technologies, your attitudes toward less advanced species, your diplomatic strategies, your weaknesses. The implications of her words settled over the assembly like a cold blanket. The finally found his voice. What? Why would humanity do this? Humanity's gambit, Sarah turned to face there indirectly, because we learned something important during our actual first contact over 2 centuries ago. We learned that in galactic civilization, perception matters more than reality. Species that appear weak are exploited. Species that appear strong are feared. But species that appear neither strong nor weak, just helpful, they get invited in. She activated her own holographic display showing a star map with human territories marked in blue. The assembly fell silent as they realized the true extent of humanity's presence. Human colonies and outposts dotted the map, strategically positioned throughout contested regions and along major trade routes. Humanity didn't need your technology, Sarah explained. Much of what you gave us we already possessed or could develop ourselves. What we needed was something more valuable: your trust, your trade agreements, your military alliances, and most importantly, your complacency. You wanted us to underestimate you, Ambassador Krell said quietly, his color shifting to a resigned gray. Yes, and it worked. Sarah gestured to the assembled representatives. 3 civilizations are represented here. 17 of you have signed formal alliance treaties with humanity, believing you were mentoring a primitive species. Those treaties remain legally binding even now that you know the truth. You've integrated human colonies into your trade networks, shared intelligence with our operatives, and position us perfectly within galactic power structures. The assembly coordinator's lights dimmed to a soft amber. This is an extraordinary situation. The assembly must decide how to respond to humanity's unconventional entry into galactic civilization. Sarah smiled slightly. Before you decide, consider this: humanity now has defensive pacts with 17 civilizations, many of whom are rivals or enemies of each other. We have detailed knowledge of your technologies and military capabilities. We control strategic positions throughout the sector, and we accomplished all of this without firing a single shot or making a single threat. She paused, letting her words sink in. We don't want war. We never did. What we want is the same thing every civilization wants: security, prosperity, and respect. We simply chose an unconventional path to achieve it. They stared at the human diplomat, feeling a mixture of anger, admiration, and grudging respect. You played us all for fools. No, Commander, Sarah replied gently. We played a game. You didn't know existed. There's a difference, she turned to address the full assembly. Humanity formally requests recognition as an equal member of galactic civilization. We propose that our existing treaties and partnerships continue under revised terms that acknowledge our true capabilities. In return, we offer genuine cooperation, shared technology, and transparent diplomacy going forward. The assembly hall fell into heavy silence as representatives considered humanity's audacious proposal. They had been outmaneuvered by a species they thought primitive, but they also recognized the strategic genius behind the deception. Humanity had turned the galaxy's own protocols and generosity against itself and now held a position of unexpected strength. Ambassador Krello finally spoke, his crystalline body flickering between colors. Humanity has proven itself both clever and dangerous, but perhaps those are exactly the qualities we need in an ally rather than an adversary. One by one, other representatives began nodding in agreement. The alternative to accepting humanity's terms was conflict with a species that had already proven itself capable of extraordinary strategic thinking, and as Sarah had pointed out, humanity had achieved its goals without violence or threats. The assembly coordinator's lights brightened to a warm gold. Then let it be recorded, humanity is acknowledged as a space-faring civilization and is invited to apply for full membership in the Galactic Assembly. We have much to discuss regarding the future. Sarah Chin bowed respectfully to the assembly while beside her Commander Thern could only shake his head in amazement. Humanity had just pulled off the greatest confidence scheme in galactic history, and somehow they were being rewarded for it. As the assembly adjourned, Thern approached Sarah one final time. Your species is either brilliant or insane. Sarah smiled warmly. Commander, in our experience, the best strategies are usually both, and with that humanity took its place among the stars, not as students or supplicants, but as equals who had earned their position through cunning, patience, and an understanding of galactic politics that surpassed civilizations thousands of years older. The humans had been underestimated. They would never be underestimated again. And